All right, hello. It's me, Brandon McNeil again, and doing another one of these video things. Um, Thank y'all for watching. I like to say, just got police coming up here checking on what I'm doing. I had to show them, hey, I actually work at this place, so they're doing their job, and thank them for doing their job. But yeah, I'm like, hey, guess what? I work here, so I can be up here. They probably kick me out, but that's another story. But yeah, I just I just came from another show. Shout out to the spot. It was on June 18th that we did it, and I'm gonna check my freaking phone, you know, because I may have to have it wrong, but date wrong. But yeah, June 18th, yeah. But yeah, this was a very good show. It was it was a good show. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to hold back my cough. These allergies are allergy. These allergies is hitting me, but yeah. But yeah, good show, good show. So yeah, I'm gonna go through this, So, but thank the spot for allowing us to do this Juneteenth show. So I'm gonna go, and I'm going through the name because I remember one time I was getting everybody's names. I forgot one person's name, so I know who it is. So shout out to them. But but I got these names. I written them down. So yeah, I'll start with 34 and a half. 34 and a half. I enjoyed him being the host. It was fun. He had some of these audience members having the all moments for what he said. He said something like "oh," nah, not like that, but he's like "oh." Speaking of that cough, but yeah, no, I enjoyed him. He's funny and things like that. Also, he is smarter than we think. He is smarter than we think, and I know that. So I really enjoy when he's on the mic. So I'm like, this is a I almost thought he did a show at Comedy Off Broadway, but if he didn't, like, he should be sought after to do to do a show at Comedy Off Broadway. Hopefully he does, either there or Louisville Comedy Club or anywhere else. But he also has his podcast things going on, and also helping the community, I believe. So folks need to look out for him. Destiny Bell, funny. She is funny. She's in Louisville. That's the only problem I have since I'm from Lexington, but that's another story. But no, she's funny. She has that humor where to me it came out of, some of it came out of, it's like we're on it and then it comes out of nowhere. I'm like, man. So her stuff hit. So I'm glad, and I hope she gets booked at Louisville Comedy Club more if she hasn't already. If she did, if she didn't, if she hasn't yet, hope she gets booked. But if she has, hope she gets booked more. Hope she gets more shows in Lexington too, and everywhere else around in the surrounding area of Louisville. So yeah, she's very funny. I enjoyed her. Enjoyed her on set. Aaron Montez, funny again, funny. This is not my first, this is not my first show with him, but of course, um, I knew that he did some improvisation tonight. He's good at working with the audience, and I know that. I really know that. So yeah, he knows what he's doing, So I'm like, so to know how to work with the audience, yeah. And he also hosts every month at Comedy Off Broadway for the open mic, him and Madison Poe. So yeah, I enjoy, his set too. Rylan Owens. This is my first time seeing him headline. he's been doing his thing. Not only with doing things with the competitions, going to different, making up to the even to the finals at one point. Um, but this is my first time seeing him headline. I'm like, cool. I'm like, I enjoyed it. Of course, he has that. He's laid back. He's very chill on stage and things of that nature. So and you know, so yeah, he brought the funny too. So yeah. Now I did. Also, oh yeah. Besides that, we had what's his name? Either Donnie Wacko or Danny Wacko. I do apologize, but I enjoyed his music. That first song though, all right, So I hope he continues to MC, continue to write, continue with the music. I really enjoyed it. So hopefully, get to hear from him again and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm going to see where he is on Instagram as well. But yeah, I enjoyed him. Now I was in between Destiny and Aaron, and I did what I did, and I'm not gonna say how well I did or things of that nature. All I can say is I told a few people. I told a few people kind of my role. Some of us help prepare the audience for the headliner or whoever, because and that's what I felt like doing tonight. That's what I wanted to do tonight. And I did my set. I did at least 98% of what I was thinking about doing. I'll say 98. There was one thing I forgot to mention, but it was so topical because it happened this morning. Our power went out. Oh well, but I was gonna mention that, but I didn't. But it happened, and it happened. So yeah, but outside of that, I did what I did. There were a few things that I'm glad I remembered doing because I was trying to work it in. But the thing is, the bit I was doing, I need to find a punchline for it because I just continue talking about the subject matter. But yeah, I did what I did. I was surprised at how well I did. But other than that, it wasn't about that. It was about entertaining the audience, and that's what if it's a comedy show, that's what we do. We are, that's what we practice for. We practice to entertain the audience, to, you know, incite laughter or to where we encourage the audience to laugh. Well, not just say encourage, but if we tell a joke, we got to make sure the joke is funny. Funny is funny. Whatever we do, the funny is funny, and that So yeah, if we get on stage, I'm not gonna do a TED talk. If I do a TED talk, I'll do a TED talk when I need to do a TED talk. But I'm doing comedy. So my goal is to do comedy. That's why there's comedians who every week practice, go on stage, whether or not the audience is paying attention, whether or not we are good, whether or not the audience thinks we're good, whether or not we feel well, because we have those moments, and I've said these things before. But we get on stage. Me personally, I would love to get on stage more, but I got a job where I have to clock in by 5:30 in the morning. So until I get something different, this is how it's gonna be. I pop in when I can pop in. If I take a nap, of course I'm gonna pop in and do it. If I don't take a nap, y'all gonna see me. I don't know when. So I'm gonna be knocked out. I almost fell asleep in the car getting ready for this show. So, and I was thinking about doing a joke on stage. I didn't want to do it. I was gonna wait because I was like trying to think of what to say on stage because it was gonna be new and I wanted to be there. I wanted to work, work. So yeah, but yeah, it was fun. Again, shout out to Dirty Four and a Half, Destiny Bell, Aaron Montez, Rylan Owens, and Danny Wacko or Donnie Wacko. I do apologize. My handwriting's my handwriting, so if I say Danny Wacko and it's Donnie, my apologies. But yeah, it was nice. It was a really good time. Um, and I know Rylan, Aaron had done a comedy off Broadway show, and I hope they do more. I really hope they do more. Dirty, if he hasn't already, I hope he gets one. Destiny too, I hope she gets one as well. You know what I'm saying? And I hope Danny Wacko gets an album or mixtape or whatever. I think I'm old school. I'm not into the mixtape things like that. I'm like, get an album out. If not an album, EP. All we need to know is keep it hip hop. MCing, DJing, tagging, b-boy, and things of that nature. That's me. Now, I know this was a Juneteenth show, and we say what we say on stage, and we have the privilege to say what we say on stage. So whatever we talk about on stage, we talk about. I've gotten on stage and did my whole thing. Like, for example, I spoke about the N-word, or what I call the N-bomb. I spoke about racism on stage. I spoke about, in a way, classism on stage. I spoke about that, and discrimination at some points. And to me, I choose to do that because if I don't make it known, actually, I choose to say it on stage because I want to make it known. Yes, I may do a bit about stuff like discrimination, things like that. Hopefully to make it funny, but to also make it aware that yes, we have it out here. Some people don't believe racism still exists. I'm like, huh? No. Classism exists. Things like that. We're in a time where things get messed up. People are being profiled, and some things tragically happens. Some people be getting called out their name. People. There's some people, even if they're citizens of this country, they get snatched up by these people just doing their job because they don't want these people in this country if they're not supposed to be. And like I said, these people are natural citizens here. So they're being profiled that they aren't. I'm like, come on now. And we say this stuff on stage, and we make it known. Some of it, for me, feels like it's like the civil rights thing continues, and it's like I want to play my part, and some folks may think I'm like doing too, like it's like I'm, gonna be the ones going out and march and things like that. And I'll be real, I'll go out and march. I would go out and march as well, or I will support it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be that one. If it was a sit-in, I'll be the only one who will be in the sit-in if I need to be. You know what I'm saying? Do it and not do it. That's what I want. And that's what it is. I don't. So when I do a joke like that, if I do a joke like that, I want it to be there. Yes, I want it to be funny. I don't want to poke fun at the, discrimination on the person and things like that. I don't want to mock the person being discriminated against and things like that. It's more like I'm making the thing aware, like, for example, I talked about it on stage where while I was in seminary, I was walking back into my dorm. These few white people that I knew were saying black jokes or jokes with black people in subject matter, and it wasn't in a positive light. It was more about in a um, what the why black people so I don't know. For example, what we say, why black people so lazy? Because da 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 or something like that. And I'm like, but when I walked in and I heard them doing those black jokes, they 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 froze, because they've been caught. And I look at them, I'm like, and I was disappointed because it was them, but at the same time, I'm like, I know that where they came from, and I don't feel. It's not that I shouldn't say I don't feel. I feel sad or I feel disappointed that their parents and their neighborhood and whoever didn't raise them, on divert, for example, raise them to, be not to say sensitive, but understanding, because skin color is skin color, you know, what's in here and what's in here, and I don't care about your skin color. It's like if you good here, and some of us ain't good here. Even I ain't good here at times. But your character and things of that nature, you good. So yeah, I want to say that, but I bring that to the stage. I bring that to the stage. I'll bring other stuff to the stage as well, and not to say it's an obligation, but I want to do it. I want to do it because I believe I said something like this, where I'm like, am I going the route like Paul Mooney or the route like Dick Gregory? I guess I am, and I want to go a route like that, similar to that. Because sometimes, we need that. I know that some of us as comedians, all we want to do is make people laugh, and that's cool. That's what comedians are supposed to do. And there's some of us who chose our style, and I know my style, and I want to do my style. My style is me, Brandon McNeil. So yeah, that's what I want to say about that. But yeah, it was a good show. Much love to everybody who did their thing. The Spot, Dirty 4.5, Destiny Bell, Aaron Montez, Rylan Owens, Danny Wacko. And thank everybody who came to see us. Also thank these cars for taking us to and fro safely, and hopefully it gets us safely somewhere where we can sleep, because I am tired. And also thanks to the police officer who's like, we don't want nobody here but the employees who's supposed to work here, and I actually work here. So yeah, I get it. I get it. I hope I disappointed him. Like, he's like, because I was like, I showed him my thing and I showed him my ID. I hope he was like, darn it. Sorry that I didn't meet your quota,